got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup, though. Started climbing my phone, she got me locked in on cup, though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup, though. Started climbing my phone, she got me locked in on cup, though.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to PSGL. George Morgan here and Jack Pinner. All the lights are currently lit here on track, and it is go, go, go!
Contact between the Mercedes teammates.
Denoso with a crafty manoeuvre up the inside. Masterclass from the Chilean.
Crucial championship points on offer
Do
here.
not count out Danny Berezne.
Longe has done the job. This is for the win between these two.
Freddie Rasmussen wins the United States Grand Prix.
Alfie Butcher wins for the first time ever. Lucas Blakely takes the championship. It's Barry Boyman.
Jarno Opmeer is your champion. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to PSGL PC F3 once again here on a Thursday afternoon. We're looking forward to it, looking forward to some fantastic racing out in the Formula 3 category. Alongside me, as always, to help cast all of the action is the wonderful Alex Heron, aka Deathlink10. Alex, how you doing?
Great, man. I'm doing really good. We are back once again for another round of Formula 3. Everything Formula 3 has touched this year has been absolutely brilliant. So I'm expecting another bang of a race. And what a racetrack we are going to as well. Suzuka, Japan, a circuit that has never disappointed in Formula 1. It's one of the best circuits on the whole calendar.
I couldn't agree more. One of my personal favourites in the F1 calendar. One of my favourites on this game as well. Well, let's not beat around the bush. Should we go check out the track map before we go and do anything this afternoon?
I think we should.
So, of course, welcome to Suzuka in Japan. 3.6 miles and 18 turns is what stands ahead of our drivers here this afternoon. Just the singular DRS zone as they run down towards turn number 1 as well. It's a real mixed twists and turns of this Suzuka circuit. Of course, famous corners like... And, of course, 130 yard for them to contend with. I completely forgot all the corner names there for a minute, Alex. That could have been bad.
Could have been bad, but you remember them in the end. And of course, the only circuit to have technically a like figure of 8 around a section. Obviously not over. It's not like a wreck fest of a track. But hey, I'm really looking forward to this circuit. It's fantastic. 130R, of course. If you remember 130R for famous overtakes, Fernando Alonso ran the outside of Michael Schumacher in 130R. I think someone had quite a large crash there. Didn't Kobayashi or Perez have like a large crash in
That rings a
130R.
bell. You're the one
It
that went
rings a
there, and
bell.
I have no idea what you're trying to
Yeah.
reference. We've
No,
got
oh no, I think Perez caught a catch there in 130. I remember that. Yes.
that makes a lot more sense. Well, drivers just getting themselves onto the grid, getting ready for their qualifying runs. Before we do that, let's check out the
Oh,
standings very, very quickly, Alex.
well, yes. Let's quickly check out the standings. So Ben Marple's currently sitting at the top, but as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, he has been promoted to F2. So our new championship leader is Richard Sprogges, who is only 2 points 2 points ahead of Angelo, his teammate. Now we know how spicy those guys can be on track, and of course we got Sixton, TS, and Tony rounding out your top 5 now. And I mean, look at those results. It's been so close in everything. I'm really looking forward to this race.
I really am as well, and I can tell you what, we'll switch over to track in just a couple of moments' time, because it is going to be a spicy qualifying. We can see it. Myself and Alex can both see it on our other monitors. We'll wait for the drivers to head on out, of course. But we saw some fantastic racing over the past couple of races. Hungary didn't disappoint, neither did Spain a couple of races ago. We've had some fantastic and thrilling races, and I think qualifying might throw some drivers into a bit of a mix here. One important thing, though, we have to announce before we go into this qualifying session: we are unfortunately back in the F1 World Cars.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but the powers that be have decided that we are going back into F1 wildcards. We won't make any more mention to it because obviously I know as audience members and as commentators it frustrates us for obvious reasons. But unfortunately there's nothing we can do about it. Powers that be have said we're in F1 wildcards. We'll go along with the show. But it's not going to ruin the show. What might ruin the show, TK, is the fact that it's absolutely chucking it down here at Japan. I mean, it is, well, if I've ever seen a monsoon-level weather here, but of course, drivers being as stubborn as they are, they've come out on intermediate tyres and not the full wets.
Yep, they certainly have. It's an interesting choice. Let's have a look at what drivers are doing. Interestingly, a couple have at least put on the full wet tyres. Marcel up in P3 heading out for a recce on the full wet tyres. Some others choosing the intermediate. Some just sat in the pits, not quite sure which way they're going to swing. Keanu Luntart as well out on the full wet. So a real mixed strategy for some of our drivers here this afternoon.
And this is why we love Formula One. This is why we love coming to these countries, because you never know what it can spring upon you. And I mean, talk about a grid that could be completely mixed up, considering, because it's one of those things we don't know. Obviously, us in the commentary box, we don't know what the weather's going to be doing. There's a chance it could dry up. It could get heavier from here on out. A lot of drivers coming out of the pits. It could be as simple as Thomas Boldrin. You go set the lap here, and that could be pole if the weather comes down even harder.
It very much could, of course. Everyone, well, pretty much everyone, apart from Yelte and Giovanni, out on outlaps at the moment. I'm sure it won't be long till they both join the pack. I think you can see them on the track map at the bottom right-hand side of your screen, just heading out for themselves. So this will be a bit of a guessing game now for which teams the drivers are trying to represent. Most of them not sticking with at least similarity in the liveries, but we'll try our best to try and keep you up to date with how the championship is standing. Tiesman in chat, 93% chance of rain. Well, yeah, it is raining.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say the 93% chance was pretty accurate in terms of thing. And we've seen Thomas Boldrin just sliding through the S's here. I mean, in a modern day Formula One car, these S's are pretty much flat. In the wet, not so much.
Yeah, definitely not in the wet. You can see Thomas really starting to struggle on those intermediate tyres, the back end wanting to kick out at every single opportunity. It's a technical first sector for our drivers. They've got to be careful. But the second and third, you can open up the car a little bit more.
Certainly can. I mean, you can see him riding those curbs there on the inside and the outside. I mean, luckily, they won't be too slippery. But, I mean, offline, it looks an absolute danger on the circuit right now. And also, we talked about this year's game. Getting tyre temperature is so tricky in this year's tyres. They're obviously, I think they're a bit of a thicker tyre than they have been in previous years. So, I mean, they're harder to warm up. But yeah, look at the way he's sliding around the circuit. The question on my lips, TK, is what is it going to do in the main race? Because I wonder how many of these guys are running a dry setup.
Wow, that would be the question. Of course, we know they will go back to the lobby, have that always reset, get the ghosting returned off for the main race. Collisions will be enabled. So it could throw a completely different factor into the mix when we come to that race scenario. Of course, 27 laps round this Suzuka circuit. It could turn the grid on its head, so to speak.
I'm pretty sure it's random weather for the main race as well, so that's going to be interesting. So Thomas Boldrin to the line, and the first lap time we've got is a 41.0 there. And we're going to see who's coming up to the line next. I believe that is Tony Hightaler, who does a 41.068. The next one to cross the line will be Daniel, currently sitting in 8th right now without a lap time on the board. He's coming up towards the line now. Can he set himself a good lap time? I think it's going to be a cracking lap time indeed. It certainly is a 1:40.4. So it looks like at the moment, TK, the intermediates are the tyres to be on. Marcel crosses the line, 42.81. I'm going to say the full wets. It's just not good enough for them right now.
Well,
but
you
I
say that.
as Keanu takes the words out of my mouth and sets it on provisional pole with a 1:40.1, 3/10 faster than Keanu. But then Richard Sprogis sets a 1:39.6.
Wow, the time's really starting to come in thick and fast here for our drivers. I apologise if I'm not quite getting everyone as they cross the line. It is kind of hard to guess what colour everyone's driving, and you can see it on the mini-maps. It doesn't always represent too well on our timing screens. And actually, Booba has invalidated their lap time. They've got one of the McLaren liveries just chasing further behind them. I believe that's going to be Ryan Grobber. Is indeed. He's up to P7, a 1:44.16. So very, very close in our timing tower.
Angelo only 6th fastest. Now, of course, now that Ben Marple's been moved up, TK, the title fight has come down to, right as it stands, Angelo and Mr. Sprogis there, teammates, of course. And what has it been now? 2 races in a row. We've had contact. We've had wheel-to-wheel battles between these two.
Yeah, we certainly have. It's a lot to lose and a lot to gain for some of our drivers. Interestingly enough, that I'll come back to that ever so slightly on. Yelte and Boba both invalidating their initial opening laps here, so they will be almost a step behind the rest of the grid when it comes to that qualifying order. You normally go out, especially with collisions off in this situation, they can go out, run their laps as normal, and then come back in. You can see Tony Hightaler already back in that pit lane, getting ready to go again. I think we did have one more lap go through. Daniel retakes the lead of, well, at least provisional pole position by 0.003 of a second here.
Oh, 0.003 of a second indeed. That's the kind of gaps we want to be seeing here in PSGL. Now, the thing is, interestingly enough, it's going to be very interesting to see what kind of systems people are running here, because not in systems, of course, in computer systems, I must add, in terms of like the way they come out and do laps, because some people might want to do 1 lap, some people might want to do 3 laps, because wet sessions are very different to dry, TK.
They certainly are indeed. It's a completely different kettle of fish. Not to use that really overused phrase, but it is a completely different kettle of fish, completely different ballpark for some of our drivers. Some drivers really like the wet. I'm being told Richard Sprogis does enjoy driving in the wet conditions. Booba on their first valid lap does go P2 here, half a second off what Larry set down. So I wonder if those intermediates starting to wear the track down, get some rain off that circuit, and actually come to life a little bit.
Yeah, and Yelp Korsman going to be next across the line, and he jumps from last to first, 38.7.
Fantastic lap time from themselves. I was about to try and guess what team they're in, but I'm not going to try and do that. Of course, F1 Wildcards, the liveries mean absolutely nothing for our drivers here this afternoon. It is all on pure pace for themselves. But Yelte, what's that, 0.4 of a second, 3.5 separating? I'll say that as Thomas Baldra goes even clearer, over 0.2 clear for themselves. Thomas Baldra, provisional pole position with 9.5 minutes left in this session.
Magical. That's what we call that. Magical lap time goes 38.5. I think we're going to see that come down even quicker because, TK, I don't know about you on my screen, but it looks like the rain's coming more to a trickle right about now.
It's certainly lighter than when we started this session about 9 minutes ago, I can tell you that.
So, are we going to say a little bit of dry? I don't think it will get dry enough for dry tyres, but, of course, intermediates are a very strange tyre indeed. They may wear quicker when it's a lot drier, but they're still going to give you a lot of grip.
They certainly are. It's a weird inters condition, of course. It'll be inters until that track comes and dries up almost a little bit more rapidly than it is at the moment. I will keep an eye on Danielle, though. They've gone purple sector 2, and they were over a second and a bit up on their previous lap time. So watch and see what the driver in 17th place can do here.
Daniel coming around the final corner now. Let's see what he does. Come up to the line. I think it's going to be a good lap here. And it certainly is. Jumps him from, what was it, 18th to 2nd. Angelo jumps himself up onto provisional pole with a 37.9 into the 137s now.
Yeah, that rain definitely getting lighter now. The track starting to develop for a lot of our drivers. They're seeing it through, especially in these latter stages of the qualifying session, rather. I think the rain almost has almost stopped. There's only minor drops dropping on this race circuit now.
Running a little bit more in the pit lane, but yeah, I think it is slowing down, that's for sure. So, It's going to be one of those things, TK. Like I said at the start of the session, but the opposite. Is you're not going to be the one that wants to do the first lap. You're going to be the guy that wants to cross the line last.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely
if
correct.
you do, you've got the best circuit.
You do. You will have the opportunity. The drivers will have cleared effectively a racing line ahead of you. That will be so crucial going into a qualifying lap. It's not an overly long circuit here in Japan, only 3 and a bit miles to contend with. But in terms of technicality, trying to get that power down some of the corners, you really have to have that dry line.
Yeah, you certainly do. I mean, it's going to be very interesting. And obviously, for the guys that did their first runs on wet tyres, they're coming out now to do their runs on inters. And like, obviously, TK, you've driven a lot, so have I. And that difference between those tyres, because full wets are a very different tyre to the intermediates.
They are indeed. It's obviously the deeper grooves on the full wets will help clear the water a little bit more, but the inters, they'll have that better grip. That's probably the better way of looking at it. They've got more of a contact area with the circuit surface, so they'll be able to pull the car out of the corners quicker. They'll be able to get more traction as they go through the lefts and rights that Japan really has to throw at them.
And I do. Just want to point out, Tiers Korsman, 1.5 seconds up in the first sector.
Whereabouts is he? Let's try and find him.
Gone through the middle sector now. He's just about to come towards the spoon curve.
He is indeed.
Where, famously, Sebastian Vettel crashed with Max Verstappen in 2018.
He did indeed. You're full of these little tidbits, aren't you?
Oh, aren't I? So, yes, I know silly facts. Can't remember birthdays, but hey, I remember the spoon curve incident in 2018.
Best way to look at it, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Exactly. Sometimes I think the amount of stuff I've forgotten to remember stuff like that is that's a worry sometimes. Not for Tony Hightower though, because he's just gone provisional pole with 37.5, and T.S. Korsman is 3 seconds up in the middle sector.
Well, he's over 3 seconds up. Zach Miles retakes provisional pole position, 137.2 for himself, but T.S. Korsman take a bow, 136.4 for yourself. Keanu Luntart, who's just behind him, couldn't quite stir the pot this time around. He will start provisionally P2 at the moment. Of course, 6 minutes still left in this qualifying session. Lots still to occur if we've seen times dropping like we have in this opening stint race in P3, just crossing the line there as well. So times are coming down. Gabriel Quintino, another one who's crossing the line. 6 and Lintart there, even faster, 136.2 for himself. The times are dropping dramatically.
Rihard's progress only 17th right now, but I think he's on a blinder of a lap here, coming through the final sector, hits the curb on the right, hits the curb on the left, gets the power down nice and quickly. Cut to the right-hand side for the shortest run to the line. He crosses it now, and it's only third fastest.
It is. It's not exactly what you'd want to see, but keep an eye on Harry Lay here. They're 3.7 seconds up through the second sector, down in P20. Will we not see another jump from P20 to P1 here as he's come across the line? I don't think it's going to be enough, but up to P11, still respectable.
And a few minutes ago, we were talking about Daniel being on provisional pole. He's now down in 19th.
Yeah, that's mad how quick this track has changed.
And he's coming up to the line now. I think he's going to say, I don't want to be 19th anymore. Or is he? Nope, he jumps up to 7th. The game was just taking its time to improve his position.
I'm glad that wasn't just me, because I saw him come across the line. The time said he went quicker. And then
and he just
didn't move.
And Giovanni is also on a flying lap here. Oh, is Larry? Is Larry? It's Larry, isn't it?
Larry, yeah.
Larry goes second fastest. Oh, misses out on provisional pole by what, 20,000ths of a second?
Let me try and get that gap for you. 0.019 of a second, so less than 200ths of a second.
Less than 200ths of a second.
That
Very close indeed.
That is insanely close between our drivers at the moment. A lot of drivers heading back into the pit lane, though. They're just getting prepped for potentially their final runs. 4 minutes and change left on this qualifying clock here this afternoon.
And it's still raining. I don't think we're going to see dries. I don't think there's no point in risking dries, I don't think, at this point.
Well, let's keep an eye on the tyres to see what our drivers are doing, because you never know. Someone might try and throw a cat out of the bag if it does stop raining. 2 minutes is still enough time for that circuit to dry enough where once you complete your outlap, it could be dry enough to run the full slick tyres, but I doubt it will happen. But you never know. Someone might want to take a risk. Yeah,
an outlap around here, I think it's about 1 minute 50, if I remember correctly from my research.
Sounds about right.
So when I say my research, I mean I saw Josh do it once, so I remembered the fact. So I don't do research, I just have memory. Both are going through the final corner now to set their next lap time of the session. All right, no, sensibly pulling the spits because they knew they wouldn't get another lap time even if they finished that one.
Yeah, very, very sensible. Of course, the clock continuing to count down for our drivers. They've got to be careful with all the time they have remaining in the session. I think Danielle is going to go for another lap, though. They put fresh intermediates on, and they're a second up in the first sector alone. If they keep this up, they could be looking at a really good time here, Alex.
They certainly could be here. This is going to be a really very tight qualifying session towards the end of it here. Very much looking forward to seeing how this all finishes out. I mean, we say rain is always the great equalizer in Formula One. And I mean, it's certainly looking at like right now. Richard Sprogis down in 4th place as it stands, the championship leader. His teammate down in 16th.
Yeah, not ideal at the moment, of course. There's still time in the session. They will come out in the pits in just a few moments' time. I think Angelo actually on a hot lap at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on that. Richard's will be coming out a little bit later. Purple sector 2 for Danielle, 2.2 seconds improvement at the moment. That would put them 1:36.5. So if they can get about 3/10 in this final sector alone, as they take out the bollard, was that?
That looked very close to being a corner cut, but it wasn't in the end. It's going to come up to the line now. It's going to be a good lap from Danielle. And cross the line, it goes provisional pole, 1:36.2. But I think, well, if I was them right now, they've got enough fuel. Get that recharge cycle on. You've got time to go again.
You do indeed. That's the question, though. How much fuel have they taken on board on that lap? Can they afford to go for effectively two more laps of this circuit in the wet conditions? We know how much extra fuel it can use for some of the cars. But Angela, I believe, was going to be the next driver on a hot lap, but they've decided to do 2 out laps here, Alex.
I can read on Daniel's thing. I think that says 3 laps of fuel left or 2.
Is that laps or litres?
It says 2.9, which is enough to do 2 laps. And they were only going to have time for 1. They will have enough fuel to go again.
Wow, that would be fascinating. We have a couple of the game jumping around ever so slightly on board with Angelo. I apologise for that. At home, not much we can do.
It's a feature.
It's a feature, indeed. But almost, well, everyone now on the grid out and an out lap apart from Danielle, who just completed their first flying run of the end of the session. 1 minute left, 63 seconds to be very precise left of this qualifying session. They will all have to get to the line. You can see the train forming behind Angelo. You can see as they head through that spoon curve. They're all ready to go for one last hurrah here.
And who is going to cross the line last? That's the question I want to know. Is it Harry? No, it's not. It's Booba. It's Booba. Oh, no, it's not Booba. Who is it?
Would it be one of McLaren's or
Giovanni. It's Giovanni who will cross the line last.
Will they get there in time?
It's gonna be tight, TK. That's for sure.
I'm gonna keep an eye on Giovanni.
Angelo's going for it. Angelo's going for it. I'm gonna keep an eye on Angelo. So he's starting what will be his final lap of the session. Currently down in 17th place, and considering the man is in a title fight, he needs to get up from 17th.
He does indeed, of course. He will be looking to jump considerably up the field. Who knows what Japan will throw at our drivers later on, of course. It's all still a little bit up in the air.
He's cutting that quite close. I'm just having a look at Giovanni. There's 7 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Did he make it? No! He missed out by literally less than a second. And Giovanni's qualifying session's over.
It did indeed. I just lost audio for half a second there. My apologies.
Well, Linhart, 6/10 up in the first sector. I think this is... Well, you know how we always talk about times going bang, 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 bang? I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Thomas Boldrin is now, I believe, one of the last cars to cross the line. There is a car inside of him as it stands. I'm trying to keep an eye on everything, but it's very tricky, TK, when everything is like it is. But I'm trying to see who's going to cross the line first. And it's going to be Zach Miles who crosses the line first. Currently sitting in 11th place. The rain is still coming down here at Suzuka. Zach Miles, 1.5 seconds up in the middle sector. He's got a final corner to go. Keanu actually crossed the line first. Goes 6th fastest. I do apologize.
He was invalidated. He didn't go faster.
No, he doesn't go faster. Stays 6th fastest. So it's down to Zach Miles. Where can he put this jet black car on the grid? He goes provisional pole. 35.0. Almost a second faster than the man behind him. Times are going to improve. Angelo jumps to the top of the timesheet. Followed by Linhart, who goes top of the timesheet. It's going to go bang, 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 bang. I'll keep an eye on everything as I can. As everyone crossing the line all at the same time. Tiers calls with this is out on pole. Goes 2nd fastest. Everyone crossing the line. There's a few cars going faster and faster. Everyone's just jumping around. We'll go through this right at the end. Who's left to cross the line? Richard Sprogis. He can cross the line. Did he take provisional pole? No.
I didn't see it jump.
He's only on 3rd.
Wow.
Well, that was a mess at the end. I will run through the grid in a minute. I believe our pole sitter is Sixten Linhart. And it is. He nicked it off Korsman right at the end by 0.3 of a second. Wow.
What a fascinating qualifying we've just seen. It all came down to that last lap attempt from a considerable number of our drivers. Tiers Korsman, P2 by 3.5 of a second. Rihard Sprogis and Angela, of course, the two teammates here, will battle it out on the second row as we start in this. We'll run through it very quickly. Larry, P5, Gabriel Quintino, 6th, Harry Lay, 8th, 9th is Zach Miles, 10th, Brian Grubber, then Danielle takes P10, Yelte, Thomas, Race, Thomas, Tony, Danielle, Marcel, Buba, Keanu, and Giovanni round out your top 20.
Giovanni didn't get that one. That would cost him. You know, it's going to cost him maybe a bit later on in the Grand Prix. And now, of course, you can't see what's going on right now on track. We're having a quick lobby restart just to put collisions back on. Now, I'm just saying, TK, before we go over that fantastic qualifying session, I wonder if Giovanni had a GT Omega gaming chair, he would have made the line.
I think he would have. He was mere millimeters away, and you never know. Those little edges to performance can really really get you across the line, so to speak. Well, that's
We're back.
we are indeed back. Fantastic as always to hear from our sponsors, GT Omega. Fantastic company, and you can get a little discount as well using code PSGL at their checkout.
Yeah, certainly. Please go do it. It's good fun. They're great chairs. I've got one myself here behind me. It's a beautiful chair sent to us by GT Omega, so always appreciate the fact that they did that. Yeah, we're just having a quick lobby restart as it stands. So we're going to try and fill up the time until that happens, which obviously is mine and TK's favorite activity during the things. You might have noticed that I have a new headset on, and I appreciate everyone saying that because it's really nice. So I appreciate that. I'm not going to tell you the brand because we're not allowed to mention other brands on PSGL. So, but it's very nice.
Talk us through why you got a new headset, Alex. There we go. That's a story for the crowd.
I can not even just talk you through it. I can show you it because I have it still here. So this is my headset, my old headset, and as you can see, there's a slight issue with the with one of the earphones. So the headset itself actually works fine. It's basically just, I don't know if you can see on the thing, this part is missing a clip that holds this together. So I had to basically rush to the internet on Tuesday and buy myself a new headset, which is what I've done now. But I actually prefer this one, and TK says I sound clearer than I did before. So.
You do indeed. It's a very nice headset, and hopefully it's sounding good for you guys at home. But let us know if you are in the live chat as well, who you're rooting for, and who you are looking forward to see racing back here in F3. Of course, no more Ben Marples as we go through the course of the season. He's been promoted up to F2. We wish him the best of luck for the remainder of the season. But will we see contact between the two teammates of Angelo and, of course, Rihard Sprogis? We've seen it over the last couple of weeks, and we might see it again this afternoon as we head into the Japanese Grand Prix. Alex, what are your early predictions off the back of that qualifying?
Oh man, it's genuinely a very intense qualifying session. Like the thing is, for us commentators as well, watching that wet session, you don't really know what's gonna like. I know it's kind of silly to say in a qualifying session, you don't know what's gonna be the final result until everyone crosses the line. But in that session, where you go like a machine gun sort of, everyone's firing out lap times. It's crazy to try and keep up with everything. My early prediction is, I think Rihard has got the pace again to really take command of the Grand Prix. But I mean, I wouldn't count out his teammate. I wouldn't count out some collisions happening during the Grand Prix. We know Japan is known for its collisions. We've seen first lap incidents. Obviously, could be a sprinkle of rain as well, because I'm pretty sure it's still random weather. It will go back to dynamics, so there could still be rain happening. You know, I mean, I'd love to see a bit of a wet dry race. We've seen that before in Formula One. We've seen not tornadoes. What's the word? What am I thinking of?
Hurricanes.
Hurricanes, monsoons. That's what I'm thinking of weather here. You know, it's a historic circuit. It's a fantastic track. I'm expected to see a brilliant 27 lap race here. And in my opinion, I think Richard will win because I slagged them off so much on the last stream. I can't slag him off again on another stream.
I think that's only fair. You've got to find that right balance between bigging drivers up and, of course, not necessarily putting them down, because I don't think as a commentator you should put anyone down, especially when it comes to their racecraft or their racing. No. But maybe just not giving them as much motivation as some other drivers going forward. But it would be fantastic to see Richard back on the top of the steps. Some drivers in chat saying, I want to see Giovanni go far ahead. And, of course, the SRC lads too. Well, we've got a couple of them in for this afternoon. Of course, Race, one of our season regulars. I think Zach Miles is in as one of our reserves for this afternoon. Tony Hightaler and Harry Lay will be familiar names if you know any of the SRC eSports drivers. So there's a lot of drivers here that I think could end up on that top spot.
They all could. I mean, this is going to be, again, how many races have we seen, like, multiple cars challenging for the race win? I mean, even in Hungary last week, where we both agreed at the start of the race, we don't enjoy watching that circuit. We came away with saying after the race that was a fantastic race to watch. I mean, because it was so different from the other races we'd seen this season. You know, obviously Spain had great battles and overtaking. Miami, which obviously me and Mackie did when you weren't here, brilliant battles once again, wheel to wheel. But in Hungary, it was a strategic masterclass from a lot of teams. Which we love to see, and even in Spain we saw a strategic masterclass as well. If you remember, was it Korsman put himself on hards early on and almost won the Grand Prix by staying out long enough? I mean, if we can see something like that in Japan, and again a little bit of rain, a sprinkle of rain in the air could change the entire outlook of this Grand Prix.
Yeah, quite often a change of weather can really change up a driver's strategy. Of course, you normally go in, you're prepping and you're preparing for that. The one-stop strategy is almost typical for a 50% race round here. But if a little bit of rain comes in, or if the weather changes a little bit more than you were expecting, that intermediate or even the full wet tyre could throw a bit of a spanner in the works for some of our drivers, or indeed their engineers as well.
And you don't want a spanner in your works.
You certainly don't. I've heard that's not a good thing to have.
Not at all. I mean, it's not what you want at all. There was obviously famous stories about spanners being caught in between the brake and accelerator pedals.
There has been
in the past. So hopefully that doesn't happen today, because that's a safety hazard.
It is.
And all of our drivers are very safe on circuit.
I've been assured by Mark, who is all the drivers' race engineers in their hearts, that there are no spanners in their cars, fortunately.
That's true. Did you also know that this year the ERS has changed and you can use different modes during the Grand Prix? But if you want to know more about it, you can check in with him later.
Oh, I might have to check in with him later, because I had not heard they'd made some changes to the way that ERS works this year. I'm sure our drivers... I think they'll know.
After every lap, he says, "Come check in with me later," and then he never checks in with us.
No, he never checks in with you, which is really disappointing, actually. Considering the amount of times that Mark tells you, "I will check in with you later," he just doesn't.
Yeah. He doesn't. He reminds you every lap, every time you go out for a lap, that the ERS has changed, and reminds you to check in with him later. And he just doesn't.
No.
Just one of those. Mark is a very mysterious character.
He's a lovely gentleman. He's a fantastic race engineer. He'll tell you the correct tyres 90% of the time.
Yeah,
and
I think we should get him on stream one day.
I'd love to get Mark Priestley on stream one day.
I think we should. Let's see if we can sort that out.
Yeah, where's I'm sure someone has the contact for Mark Priestley.
Well, George Morgan's in chat, and I mean George knows everyone.
Yeah.
George, give us a ring. See if he wants on F3. He probably want to be on your show because you're amazing. But like, I mean, if he wants to come on F3, you know, it's all good. That's great as well. Come on F3 first. And then he can have some disappointment, and then he can go on to Formula 1.
We'll introduce him to PSGL, because we're really friendly.
Yeah, exactly. We are really friendly.
I'm not saying that George and Jack aren't. They were really friendly.
That's also very true. I think we're just digging ourselves holes.
I think we are. We're still waiting for this lobby to reset.
I mean, this is why we're not. This is why we're really bad at holding. Shall I get the book out?
Let's get the book out.
Get the book out. Come on, I'll get a good fact for us all. Let's see if I can find a Japanese Grand Prix fact. Do some plugging while I find a fact.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for confirmation that we are ready to go green. Not quite sure what we are waiting on. Not Someone said they've got the flag. No idea what they're referring to that, but 27 laps of this Japanese Grand Prix about to come your way. Well, you know what, Alex? We'll jump and have a reminder of our drivers' standings whilst we get ready to go.
Yes, I believe we should. And looking at the driver's standings, of course, don't forget Ben Marple's no longer part of this division, promoted up to F2. So Riyadh Sproggs is currently your championship leader on 42 points. Angelo on 40, just 2 points behind him, followed by Linhart on 39, and then Matthias Korsman on 26. That's second in Spain, looking like a pretty good result now. I mean, he has found himself in a little bit of a championship fight. I know he's quite a few points off TK, but you know, in the way our PSGA point system works, of course, 16 to 1. I mean, he's got a real chance of battling for this title.
He does indeed. There's lots of opportunity left in it, and of course, going on into the next few rounds, we're only pretty much at the halfway point once we finish this Japanese Grand Prix here this afternoon. There's 6 more rounds: Saudi Arabia, Mexico, Belgium, Italy, Qatar, and Brazil to finish us off for the season.
Cool.
So there's still a long way to go.
There's still a long way to go, and obviously all those tracks are fantastic.
They are indeed. I'm looking forward to Brazil to be a season closer once again.
Yeah, Brazil should be the season closer in my personal opinion. It's now not even the penultimate round; it's the second. It's the third last round of the thing. But hey, that's not our decision.
You have a question in chat from George Morgan as well, by the way.
Do I?
You do,
George. I just rent it. Well, I said, George, do you want to? Well, we want to get Mark on stream from the F1 game, and we were curious because you know so many contacts, and because of course you're a great guy as well. You could, maybe hook us up, get him on stream for F3. Obviously, you're welcome to have him as well. After we've had a chat with him, but I just thought maybe it'd be cool.
I think it would. But I've got some more exciting news for you, Alex.
We're getting in. I couldn't find a Japanese Grand Prix
We're
fact.
about to go racing. We've had a question in chat. Can we run through the grid order? I would love to, but it's not on our screens anymore. So we will go through that. Of course, as soon as our drivers are on the grid, getting ready to go, we'll switch across to it nice and early, just because we don't want to miss that lights out action. We'll get a nice view of our pit lane ready to go on here.
So, I have found a fact for you though. A Formula One car is an open wheel, open cockpit, single seat racing car.
Thanks.
There you go.
That's I think that's fact of the day from you there, Alex. That
fact is printed on 2 sides of the same book, literally a page apart.
Wow.
Yep. No joke.
Did you know? Here's a fun fact off the top of my head. F1 cars, at least 99% of the time, have 4 wheels.
Oh, that's true. 99% is a lot of the time. I mean, it's like legit. I don't think it's actually probably 99%.
Probably not, but we're gonna roll with it.
We're gonna roll with it because of the memes.
Exactly.
Now, by the looks of the skies, TK, it looks like it's the sunniest day they've had in a long time. It's looking pretty warm here in Japan. Could change up for tyre temperatures, of course, as well. So keep an eye on that. Of course, the London Eye in the background there. Everyone's got a London Eye these days. So, and something else you can see, TK, just look in that pit lane. It's not straight. But what is straight is our lights out and away we go, because we've got the 5 lights on and we're underway for the Japanese Grand Prix. It's a good start from our pole sitter as we race down towards turn 1. Riyadh Sproggs and Matthias Korsman go wheel to wheel, and Riyadh Sproggs still in the lead ahead of Lari, who's ahead of Angelo, and there's a couple of cars chasing in behind. Everyone keeping it nicely clean through the first couple of corners, but Linhart leads from Sproggs, TS, Lari, and then Gabriel in 5th as Angelo's fallen himself down to 6th here at the start.
He has indeed. It's not been the best race start from Angelo as he heads through the S section on lap 1 of 27 here. There's someone having a bit of a kick out further back. That's Thomas Border, of course, the first driver out in our qualifying session. He's down to P13. He just lost the rear end there as they're coming over the crest of the hill, and that's a mistake from Angelo.
No, and Angelo dropping down the order. He's now at the back of the grid. He's not got front wing damage, but he's right at the back of the grid, and for us, man, second in the championship. He has not been a good start of the race for him. Those hard tyres just not getting warmed up here.
They have indeed, but I tell you what, the man at the top of the championship, Richard Sprogis, has retaken the lead of the Grand Prix. He got past Sixten Linthart as they headed through the hairpin corner, just got better traction out of it, so the Kick Sauber is going to really start to try and run away with this Grand Prix. He's on the medium tyres. He has Sixten and Tias further behind on those hards, and let's see if he can make the advantage of the tyres work as we head into the Casio Triangle for the first time. Sixten thought about a move here down the inside, but he's backed out rather sensibly.
Here's Korsman, goes wheel to wheel with Lari here for third place. It's a great battle as they race down the pit lane, one on hards, one on mediums, as we have a battle for the lead as well. Linhart on the inside, down the inside as they go wheel to wheel into the first corner, and Linhart bravely backs out of the corner as Richard Sprogis continues on in the lead of this Grand Prix. What a race start we have had here. We're only on lap 2 of 27.
We are indeed. It's going to be a long Grand Prix for a lot of our drivers. Of course, the alternating strategy for most of them, mediums to hards or hards to mediums, is what it's looking like by the choice of their engineers. But Richard Sprogis leads from Sixten, from Larry, from Gabriel Quintino. And just a reminder of how many positions they've all equally made up in the opening stages of this Grand Prix. Quite a few drivers making 2 up early. Sixten Linthart, of course, losing the lead. Dive down the inside there from Gabriel Quintino. We'll find him on the podium spots at the moment.
He goes wheel to wheel. This is not a part of the circuit you go wheel to wheel on, with Gabriel Quinton going for it as much as he possibly can, not into spoon curve, but Harry gets in front of Korsman there, one of the SRC lads, up into P5 as he's chasing down this top 4. I don't recognise that name. Is that a new jump up or is that a reserve? I don't recognise.
Harry Lane, one of the reserves that stepped in for this afternoon.
Reserves. Well, he's certainly putting on a show this afternoon. Oh, so we're going to have a 3-wide movement in the final corner. Oh my goodness me, that was almost brilliant, but almost disastrous at the same time, as Harry going to go around the outside of Gabriel Quinton here, as he's really putting on a show. But that was almost disastrous for our top 3, as they all went wheel to wheel in the final corner, and a car trying to go around the outside there of Harry is Tias Korsman. Can he force his way all the way around the outside on hard tyres? They still go wheel to wheel towards the S's, and Harry holds on to that position. This has been brilliant action here at the start, TK.
What an opening few laps we've seen here at the Japanese Grand Prix. There's a battle for the lead, of course. The front 3 still kind of fighting it out amongst themselves, but Larry becoming more and more vulnerable to Gabriel Quintino, that he finds himself in P4. Harry Lay, of course, reserving here this afternoon, as we've previously mentioned, finds himself in P5. Tias Korsman and Zach Miles, 6th and 7th respectively, between themselves. They're all starting to find their little comfort zones on this track, and where they like to send a move down the inside, but Richard is exactly where he wants to be at this stage of the Grand Prix. He's leading, he is commanding it, he is commanding everyone behind him.
He'll know that his teammate and one of the main championship rivals down in 19th place as well is struggling right now to make it through the pack. I mean, obviously this is early on in the race. We'll go back to the battles right now as Zach Miles just gets in front of Tias Korsman. Korsman dropping like a stone at the moment on those hard tyres. Oh, but will he battle back in 130R? Will he force his way around the outside of 130R? We go wheel to wheel between the 2 drivers. And something I want to see 3 wide in the final corner as well. What is going on between these drivers this afternoon? But Lari's found themselves in the lead here, TK.
They have indeed. Through the Casio Triangle they went, and they commanding the lead of the race now. Giovanni sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix further back. Richard Sprogis and Sixten Linthart going wheel to wheel through the opening corner. That's not a place you want to be going side by side. It's a very high-speed corner indeed, and Sixten tries to hang it round the outside of the opening of the S's, but Richard showing his dominance here, and he retains P2 by a hair's width.
Brilliant stuff there from Richard. The interesting thing there, TK, was when Lari got into the lead of the race, obviously Richard was leading going into that final corner, so he didn't get DRS, so he could have got swamped by the pack, but he was using his DRS so smartly, he managed to keep hold of those positions. But Lari, what a race they are running right now, up at the top of the grid. I mean, they are having sky-high expectations put upon them. Oh, little tap in the back there on Gabriel Quinton from Harry in behind, but no damage caused for either driver, just a little bit of time loss.
Yeah, a little bit of misjudgment there from Harry Lai, tapping the rear of Gabriel Quintino. Not exactly what you'd like to see. Giovanni further back is making up positions as he's up to P14 now, getting past Danielle. So they're starting to dispatch drivers, getting up the positions and trying to recover what had been a really poor qualifying for themselves. You remember just mere minutes ago go, where they just lost out for getting to the line. But Ryan Grob goes for a move here on Zach Miles, up to P3 for himself. But what is happening with the top three at the moment? Nothing. It could be a dive for Harry Lai once again. He's backed out. The McLaren liveried car at the moment is finding his feet.
I mean, that was spicy between Zach Miles and Ryan Grubb. It's almost seemed personal, pushing him as hard as he could on towards the grass, but he made that move stick. Brilliant stuff. Proper wheel-to-wheel action. Thomas Baldwin in the pits and retires from the Grand Prix. It's not been a good afternoon for him. Down, well, what was 19th place anyway, but now out of the Grand Prix. But yeah, Lari really pushing their white livery car here this afternoon. I don't know what car they are driving. For the points, I'm sure PK doesn't know.
That's a good question. I wish you'd probably given me some clue. I don't actually know what constructors they're representing at the moment. I think they're in for one of the reserves this afternoon. I'll double check that a little bit later on. But at the moment, like you said, they're commanding the race. Sixton Linthart having a massive kick out as they headed through that right-handed kink just a mere couple of seconds ago. Not quite sure what that was. Maybe just tyres losing grip.
A little bit hot as well. Could be some overheating here. They are sitting right close to each other here at Japan. I mean, look, the train goes down from 17th to the lead of the Grand Prix. There is no gaps in terms of your DRS losses. The only car that is gapped right now is Yelts down in 19th place, but he's already made a pit stop. Here we go. The race down to 130R. Look at the speed that Sixton Linthart is gaining here. Is he going to go for it to 130R? No, backs out before 130R. Doesn't want to make that move stick there. Will he go for it in the final corner? Oh, look to the inside, but no gap found on the inside. But now, we're going to use DRS here. We race towards the first corner, down the main straight here at Japan. DRS opens for the two cars behind Lari here, as it looks like Sixton Linthart is dumping his battery, but so is Rihard Sprague. Lari defends so much on the inside. Oh, he was getting pushed through the corner by Linthart. That was almost an Alonso Kimi situation again. Brilliant stuff in that first corner.
Fantastic opening corner once again. We've seen it time and time again throughout the course of this Grand Prix. The top three not giving each other a hair's breadth of breathing room as we head through lap 6 of 27 now. Sixton Linthart quite happily sit in P3, but I'll tell you what, that contact with Rihard Sprague will put a damper on the work, so to speak. He'll want to make the move eagerly next time around and not get caught behind the kick Sauber that stands in front of him.
And this is not what our championship leader wanted, is it? He wanted a clean, just a simple race for him, but he's not got that this afternoon at the moment. Currently sitting in second place. He's got a threat in front of him in Lari, who's absolutely come out of nowhere this afternoon in terms of their pace. It's been brilliant. Sixton Linthart pressuring him behind. Of course, Angelo down in 17th place.
Yep.
But you're not going to worry about that when you're battling so hard with the other drivers around you.
No, not at all. It's something you want to try and keep an eye out for. You want to pay your pace, and that's Harry Lai having a massive kick out as they come out of Spoon Curve. The McLaren liveried car, once again, we've seen it for a couple of cars now through the course of this Grand Prix. He's trying to hold off Ryan Grubb as well as they head through 130R. The two McLaren liveried cars fighting it out, but at the lead of the race, too wide for P2 here. Sixton Linthart thought about a move into the Casio triangle, but he will set him up nicely for the start-finish straight. That's a mistake from Larry through the final corner. That's going to allow Rihard pass and Sixton pass now.
And Larry almost absolutely going into the pit wall, and that's going to cause carnage in behind. And it might even send Gabriel Quinton round the outside. But will Larry keep it on the inside? They go wheel to wheel through this first sector, and Gabriel Quinton's made the move stick. But how did Larry keep that out of the wall? I thought that was straight into the pit entry.
No idea how he's managed to recover that car. He's only lost 3 positions, though could have been a lot worse as we continue through this Grand Prix. Gabriel Quintino will be happy with the almost free position that they've gained here this afternoon. Will join Sixton Linthart and Rihard Sprague on the podium as things stand, but Larry will not be taking that personally. He will try and recover the lead of this race from which he had mere moments ago.
Two McLarens are properly battling wheel to wheel here this afternoon, TK. I mean, I've seen this before, and usually it doesn't end well.
No, normally doesn't indeed. It's unfortunate time and time again, but we'll wait and see what happens later on in the Grand Prix.
Well, we go through Spoon Curve now. Oh, a little bit wide there by, I believe that was Gabriel Quinton there, just going a little bit wide on the exit of Spoon. As once again we race down towards 130R, which looks like we're down back to Sixton Linthart and Rihard Sprague first and second in this Grand Prix. And they're once again trying to battle out for that top step of the podium. We're only on lap 7 here, DK. Only 19 laps to go. I mean, we've already flown past the first 7 laps of the Grand Prix. And Harry's in the pit stop here. Early pit stop, undercut central. Is that what we're about to see?
I think it might be. Of course, there's 5 drivers now in the pits. Harry, Zach, Boba, Tony Hightower, and Thomas Laminen all diving into that pit lane. Of course, slightly random pit assignments for a lot of our drivers here. I wonder if that will be a consideration as we go through this Grand Prix as well. They won't necessarily be able to avoid pitting against their teammates, so taking maybe a small penalty time, almost loss over the course of the Grand Prix, just to ensure they don't get caught with that double stack.
Yeah, you do not want to get double stacked. Unfortunately, with the nature of the F1 World Cups, we don't know exactly where they're going to end up in terms of their positions, which is a shame. But of course, we are dealing with it right now as it stands. Riyad Sprog is still leading this Grand Prix. A little bit of flashing there, but it's just saving, charging the battery, as to be said. Once again, we are chasing down. I'm already on board right now with Sixten Lindhardt. He's really chasing down the back of Riyad Sprogis into Spoon Curb. I mean, either one of these guys could go to win this race, but look at the cars behind you, DK. From 11th down to 1st, the entire grid is within DRS.
Yeah, absolutely insane numbers between our drivers at the moment. Everybody still holding on to that DRS. And even if you look further back at Harry Lay and further down, they're all holding DRS amongst themselves. And Angelo now is starting somewhat of a strike amongst himself. He wants to try and recoup as many positions as he possibly can through the Casio Triangle. He's up to P9. He got past Danielle for P10. And Ryan Grob's in the pit lane, as is Marcel.
Surely that's got to cover off, hasn't it? That's surely got to cover off. Angelo staying fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He is taking no prisoners this afternoon. He is really on the charge as he chases down our front pack. But you've got to think Ryan Grob's covering off Harry, his teammate there.
Yeah, almost certainly that'll be the thing that he'll have in mind. He knows that Harry pitted the lap before him this time around, and Ryan Grob will just want to get in and get out before his teammate comes around. But I wonder how close he will be. It's a little kick out ahead on the exit, but Ryan Grob will be ahead of his teammate by a considerable margin.
The undercut not as powerful as Harry just had a pretty poor out lap. I don't know exactly how it's going to, going to pull out, but that's a real shame for Harry because he got overtaken by Zach Miles as well. That could have been the factor there.
Yeah, it could have been. It's we'll wait and see. I'm sure if one of them ends up on the podium, we'll have a chat to them a little bit later about it. I'm sure Harry Lane. I don't know if he, like you said, I wonder if he just got stuck behind one of the drivers trying to filter their way through the pack, or maybe there was even a bit of a double stack chaos causing that issue. Could have easily been. So, every medium tyre runner has pit apart from 3, of course being Rihal Sprogis, Gabriel Quinton and Larry there, 1st, 3rd and 4th, all yet to pit in this Grand Prix off of those medium tyres. Everyone else on the hards. But Angelo's lap time, is that ominous for our race leader? I wouldn't say ominous. I think it's something they'll have to take into consideration as we see Rihard and Gabriel Quintino both into the pit lane here. So that will allow Sixten Lindhardt to take the lead of the Grand Prix. Larry just further behind him, but Danielle and Tias are almost going to battle it out for 3rd and 4th respectively at the moment. Of course, the drivers who pitted earlier, 21 seconds now off of this lead pack. They're losing time, if my maths is correct.
Yeah, they are. I mean, those are not really firing up, are they? We saw that with the opening lap. The hards just didn't fire up. Saying that, though, Zach Miles has just set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. They're going to get, in front of, who they've just got in front of there in the pit stop? Gabriel Quinton has just lost 4 positions. And it was very close to Rihard's being in the same position. The undercut, clearly very, very powerful here, TK.
Yeah, certainly is. I wonder what has happened there. Gabriel Quintino losing a lot of positions. I wonder if that one lap might have been too early for some of the drivers. Of course, Ryan Grob coming in, but now has been reunited with his teammate. You can see how close the 2 McLarens are once again. So maybe not too much difference in terms of pit delta over the course of one lap. But we wait and see when those hard tyre runners do go in. And Larry, interestingly enough, is trying to stick out the medium tyres.
Is that going to be a huge mistake considering what we've seen with the undercut just now?
Well, we'll wait and see what happens later on into this Grand Prix. A chat was saying it's a really early, super early pit stop for some of our drivers, but their engineers obviously know what may be coming later on down the line. We wait and see if Larry doesn't die to go into the pits, and it is indeed almost expectedly there.
Oh, a little bit of a Tokyo drift into the pit lane it was on this fact. There's, the 2 McLarens go wheel to wheel in 130R. Oh, that's some rubbing racing if I've ever seen some. As Harry makes their position known, gets past Ryan Grob. I suppose for Harry, they've got no team loyalty here, have they? They're a reserve driver.
Yep, it's that's something that we'll have to take into consideration. They're out for their own points here this afternoon. Harry Lay, P10, as you can see drivers coming out the pit lane. That is going to be Larry Tukey, of course, the driver who led a few laps this Grand Prix, will separate the two McLarens here. Ryan Grubb and Harry Lye will be separated by one Larry himself, of course, the ET8 driver, who finds himself in P10.
Larry coming out of the pit lane saying, "You two stop, all right? I'm getting in between. Getting too much." But yeah, didn't lose too many positions there. Probably about, what, 3/10 off of where Reinhardt's progress is, currently in P7. So, I mean, Larry's still in a really good position here in P10. I mean, there's still real opportunity for a podium finish this afternoon. I'm interested to see when these hard tyres pit, when these hard runners pit, I assume they're going to go mediums.
That would be my understanding, of course, later on in the race. If we're only expecting the medium tyres to do 10 laps here, I'm not expecting the hard tyres to pit till about lap 17, lap 18 potentially.
Yeah. I mean, that's a long old stint on hard, isn't it?
It is.
It's going to be interesting to see what these guys pull out of the hat. But everyone in chat saying it's quite early pit stops.
Well, we've had a couple of people in chat saying it was early pit stops, but I'm sure, obviously, most drivers at least have an engineers. I think we're going to see a change of the lead of the race. Tiers Korsman round the outside of Sixten Luntart here. He will take P1 at the moment, at least, without those pit stops coming in to be a factor. But Sixten Luntart, the TRT driver, just has to settle for P2 once again.
Again, going down into P2. Korsman, I think, has got a real opportunity here, TK, to have a real charge for this title towards the end of the season. I'm really excited to see what he can do now because, I mean, we saw that pace in Spain, didn't we? We saw he's got it. So now he's currently leading. I know he's still got a pit, but if he's got this kind of pace now, he's going to have that kind of pace on mediums.
Yeah, he will indeed. Of course, as you were saying, we saw it in Spain, and actually he took the hard tyre as the opening tyre in Spain as well. He bolted on the softer compound in the latter stages of the Grand Prix, and it worked out for him there. And I wonder if he's hoping to repeat some of the success he had this time around in Japan.
And of course, don't forget about Angelo, who's found himself back up in 4th place on the alternate strategy. I mean, fair play, the mental gain on that as well, because you know, a lot of drivers would shut down mentally after a silly spin like that at the start of the Grand Prix, but he got back into it, and he's up in 4th now, chasing these leading pack, and really has a chance to still get a good points finish here, or maybe the podium or the win.
Yeah, very true. Lots to still consider later on in this Grand Prix. Pit stops will become a massive factor in it. You can see the time between Reinhard Sprogges and Keanu Luntart dropping ever so slightly around the 17 seconds. As Daniel now wants to take the lead of the race almost surely. He backed out though. I think he was going to let Sixten. He wants to just be dragged along by the two in front of him. He'll let Tiers Korsman and Sixten Luntart just battle it out for P1. Daniel will stay P3, and Angelo actually, I think quite hesitantly, staying in P4 himself.
I think he wanted that position. He really wanted to get past Daniel there because I appreciate what Daniel's doing. He wants to get dragged along by these two in front of him. But Angelo's clearly got some pace in that car. He wants to fire it through the grid, and he needs to be in the lead.
As we've had a retirement in the pit lane, that's Yarte Korsman. Of course, brother of TS will be retiring from the session. So one brother out, one brother in P2 at the moment. So I know who the battle of the household is certainly going to, but where's the battle on track going to end up here? 17.1 seconds is now the delta between Rihard and Keanu. Pit stop round here, what, roughly 20 seconds, Alex?
Yeah, so they'd come out about 4 or 3 seconds behind the leaders. I mean, that's a really close pack as well. You look how close that pack is together. From P7 down to P18, everyone is within that pack.
Yeah, as we have a yellow flag, sector 1. That's just Yalte's car coming out of the pit lane. I wonder if we'll see any undercuts potentially for the hard tyre. I doubt we will. Of course, we know how well the hard tyre can be running in this year's game. We know how long drivers are expecting to take it in many situations. So I think it will be at least 3 or 4 more laps for our drivers here. But Tiers Korsman will go round the outside to retake the lead of the race. They're working together now, this front 4 pack, and this is what they want to be doing.
And it's working, isn't it? It's working as it stands. I mean, this is what they need to do, as you said, TK, because they need to deal with the guys that have gone onto that pressure tyre, try and gain as much time back as they possibly can, and still come out. Well, they're not going to come out in the lead of the race. That is for damn sure, because that is not how gaps work. But I mean, they're going to have the fresh tyres.
They certainly will.
I'm looking forward to the end of this race. Again, this is another one of those things where, what is the right strategy? Is it the alternate strategy? But unlike in Hungary, you know, we've actually seen some insane wheel-to-wheel fights.
We have indeed. It's played into the hands of many drivers here this afternoon. It's going back to a battle of the mind in in quite a few respects here this afternoon. We've had the split strategy for a lot of drivers, everyone from P7 down. Early pit stops from the mediums onto the hards. Everyone from P6 upwards will take the original tyre, the hard tyre, longer into this Grand Prix. Hope that the softer tyre at the end of the race will come good for them. But I reckon we'll see a lot of overtake. Probably laps 25, 6, 7 will become some fascinating racing laps here, Alex.
I think they certainly will. So we're on lap 14 of 27. Not too many to wind down the clock as we stand. And it's looking pretty good for a couple of drivers. Riyad Sprogis probably going to be the chillest man right now. Currently still net race leader of the Grand Prix, but he will know going to have some defending to do on his hands when those guys eventually come into the pits. And Angelo once again looking for the move. I mean, if you're Angelo right now, it's a big snap there from Sixten Lindhart, and Tiers Korsman backing out of going for the overtake there in the S section.
I think he's happy to sit behind at this moment in the race. He's being patient. He's playing the waiting game. He knows he can be dragged along by that DRS distance further back. Larry Tulke has got past Harry Lai for P9. So moves are starting to be made in that pack further back as well. They know when the original or the long runners enter into the original pit stops, then this will be the battle for effectively the lead. And Rihard is commanding it.
I think for Larry, they're thinking in the back of their head, this is going to be the chance to make the overtakes while the pack is so netly close together before the new guys come out with the new tires. I think this is a smart play here by Larry. I think if they're going to be the car behind Rihard, that's what they want to be.
Yep, exactly. It's still just over halfway into this Grand Prix. Lots still could happen. I expect the front runners, or at least the long runners here in this Grand Prix, to go in within the next 3 or 4 laps. That's my intuition talking. However, I have been proven wrong on these streams many times before, and that is the sole reason that I'm not an engineer when it comes to F1 esports. They quite often will surprise me, but I'm expecting probably around 16, 17 or 18, those sort of laps for the front runners to pit in. I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, actually, I say that as Daniel and Keanu both in.
But he hit the back of him. He hit the back of him going into the pit lane. He's got front wing damage,
and it's not going to be changed.
And it's not going to be changed. Keanu has got front wing damage because he broke too late in the pit stop. We've got a yellow flag in that final sector for Ryan Grob. He's had a little bit of a spin there, and have those McLarens come together because Harry's in the pits as well.
Yep, let's try and see what Harry's damage is. He's into the pit lane. New front wing required for himself, but they're not going to change it here either.
Oh, it's all gone wrong. And I mean, I don't know what happened there, but it looks like one McLaren spun round, one McLaren without front wing damage. You put them together and see what happens.
Yep, it's a repeat of what we saw the last couple of weeks, except this time being the McLaren team instead of the Kick Saubers. Rihard at the moment is still doing well. P5 for himself. Angelo in a world of his own, P4, but yet still to pit as we go through this Grand Prix. The front 4 are just holding on. We're being told in my ear that Harry rear-ended Larry.
Harry rear-ended Larry. Oh, that's why Larry's falling down to 13th. And I guess Ryan Grob was just caught up in the action as well, I assume. That's what happened.
Sounds like a weird spin-off of when Harry met Sally.
Yep, it's just, same ending.
So
as we chase down, that's a layered reference right
that
there.
Is.
As we chase down the race leader, Angelo, surely he's going to be thinking about pit stops now. And are all 4 of them in? No, only 3 of them in.
Daniel
One of them stays out.
Daniel stays out.
Yellow flag. Ryan Grob's slowing down. He's had another spin.
Yep, he has. I wonder if that wing damage is actually causing him chaos, because I know he came out wing damage free, didn't he?
He did. Giovanni's got a penalty as well, 3 seconds.
But we'll wait and see where those drivers come out. Of course, the drivers that pitted mere moments ago, they'll be coming out probably a lot closer to the back of this pack than they originally imagined. We'll watch on board here with Tiers Korsman as we see someone spinning off in the background. That's Keanu Lundhart.
What has happened? So Keanu Lundhart, he's had a big incident there. I thought I saw a car spinning in the background, and I thought it was just a trick of the eye, but it wasn't. It was a car spinning, and that's not gone well at all. What is happening to these drivers?
No idea. It's all gone from bad to worse for some of them. Daniel now in the lead of the Grand Prix. 15.8 seconds is the gap further back to Rihard Sprogis, as we do see confirmation on your screens that Ryan Grob retires in the pit lane. Harry Lay has not done so much. He's potentially waiting for a safety car here. 10 and a half laps of racing to go here at PSGL PCF3. Moves are starting to be made as the pack have been brought back together.
And look at these. This is what we want to see. It's going to be proper nose to tail stuff here in Formula 3 for this final couple of laps. We've got Danielle barging their way through on Boba there. We've got Tias Korsman chasing them down as well. So who is going to be your Grand Prix winner, ladies and gentlemen? 10 laps to go. It is all to play for. Daniel, the last of the hard tyre runners who started on them to pit now, which means Rihard Sprogis will take the lead on the Grand Prix. Oh, Daniel looks for a move into the Casio triangle, but can't make it stick. But here we go. Is he going to have a great run out of the final corner? DRS on. We've got Lari making a move there on Giovanni. Daniel making a move on Giovanni as well, as moves are making all across the field. And down the inside. Oh, Angelo's found himself up in 12th. He's ahead of Linhart and Korsman.
He is. He's had a fantastic run in these pit stops. He came out just at the right moment as Keanu Linhart retires in the pit lane. I wouldn't be surprised if Harry does later on in this Grand Prix. But of course, that spin down the start-finish straight, potentially unrecoverable for the Alpine driver. So they've decided to call it early at the end of lap 17 here, Alex.
They certainly have. It's not been a great afternoon for Keanu. It was looking okay, and it all just fell apart. We'll find out what happened later, I'm sure. But Angelo, look at this speed. He's got out of the corner. He's got a gap on the inside. He's going to force his way around the outside. It's going to be bold. It's going to be brave. It's going to be beautiful because he's going to have the exit. And he makes a stunning move there as Angelo moves himself up into 11th place as he chases down the pack again. Your lead medium tyre runner up in 8th place. And Daniel really chasing down the pack here. We have got another, 6 laps of brilliant racing as once again Linhart makes another move, or does he? Because Boba's got a great exit. Wow, what a speed. But look at Tias Korsman going to go force away around the outside, and he's found the gap, and he's up into 13th place as Angelo up into 10th place as down the inside. Oh, I thought Linhart was going for it from a long way back. This race is about to go Super Saiyan like it's Goku.
It is indeed. DRS enabled for pretty much all of our drivers as they head down towards turn number 1. Who will be the first to make a move now they're back in that pack situation? I think Daniel and Sixten Lundtart going side by side into turn 1. Who's going to come out on top here is I think Sixten gets pushed a little wide, but he has the inside line for the opening corner of the Estes. Fantastic move for himself. He's up to P14, just defends the position. Tias Korsman, of course, still in front, but Sixten already knocking at that door as Tias and Buba going side by side here through the closing corner, through the long left-hander. Tias Korsman gets past, as does Sixten. Fantastic double overtake.
Brilliant stuff. And also, just want to point out, you missed slightly, but Daniel got almost barricadoed into the pit wall by Sixten there. It was absolutely brilliant stuff. Proper wheel-to-wheel racing. That's what we love to see here at PSGL F3. It's been a brilliant Grand Prix here. Everyone has put on a show for everyone watching it this afternoon. Hope everyone has enjoyed it, and we've still got another 7 laps to go.
We do indeed. Lots still to contend for. I think the lead of the race could be spicing up here as Gabriel Quintino has a good run on Zach Miles as they head into 130R. The gap between them now just a 10th of a second. Now actually less than that as they head towards the Casio triangle of the braking zone. Will Gabriel go for it here? I think he's going to wait till the DRS comes in to assist him. But further back, Angelo has got past Larry. So Angelo on those medium tyres has really started to fire up as we expected him to.
Certainly has. He's really trying to charge in the field. Fastest lap of the Grand Prix as Daniel makes another move there past Tony Hightower. That was that was heavyweight versus flyweight, to be perfectly honest with you, with a difference on tyres right now. 4 lap old medium versus 12 lap old hards. It's not even a contest as it stands right now. Daniel really pushing through the field now. I mean, they've got a real chance of this race victory here, TK.
He does indeed. They know what they've got on contention, on offer for a lot of our drivers heading through the long left-hander once again over the crest of the hill. And sometimes it's a bit of a blind corner. You don't necessarily know what's about to come up in front of you, but everyone navigating it rather well. I think they will just start to settle down once again, but the hard tyre runners cannot get too competent here this afternoon because they will have the medium runner of Danielle chasing them down. Hand over fist as Angelo also up a position here. He gets past Tony Hightower. 2 medium runners now in contention for a podium.
Like every time Daniel does a move, Angelo says, I can do it better, and moves himself up into a position just behind him. I mean, this is brilliant stuff here as Angelo once again charging down the hard tyre runners. He'll know who the race leader is, won't he, TK? He'll know that his teammate is leading this Grand Prix, and he'll know that he's only 2 points behind him. This could be a spicy battle at the end of this Grand Prix, but Gabriel Quinton trying to go around the outside in the Casio triangle. I mean, that was going to be always a tricky move to pull out.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been the most ideal one to pull out, but through the final corner we run for the 21st time. Yellow flags further back. That's potentially Giovanni. It is indeed who spun around. Danielle is still making up moves as I think Angelo's going to follow him through. Gabriel Quintino gets up to P2 for themselves as Zach Miles down to P3. 3 or 4 moves made in just a singular corner here. This is starting to spice up.
It certainly is. It is a spicy Grand Prix here in Japan as everyone is really pushing their way through the grid now. Angelo only a 10th behind Danielle, and Danielle only 3/10 behind Race, who found himself up in another great P5 as it stands. I mean, there's been some standout drives this afternoon. I think it's going to be very tricky to pick our driver of the day this afternoon, TK.
It certainly will. There's lots of contenders for that prestigious badge. Of course, it means absolutely nothing when it comes to the driver standings. What a move down the inside. Was that? Who was that? Was that Marcel?
That was Marcel, and it's collision there with Danielle. I think Daniel's got damage. He does. He's got right front wing damage.
Yeah, he does indeed. I'm not quite sure how he's got front white. Was that him that sent it down the inside late on the brakes?
He went late on the brakes and just completely misjudged his braking point and has caused damage to himself that's going to cost him this race.
That'll almost certainly be a steward's report later on, but I want you to keep an eye on here, Alex. Angelo is up to P4.
Oh. He's up to P4 and he's right behind Zach Miles as well. Richard Sprogis, watch out because there's a man on medium tyres and he's your teammate. He's 2 points behind you and he wants that race a victory. We've got a yellow flag. Is that Sixten Linhart's now having problems in the background?
It is indeed. Not quite sure what's happened there. Heading through the Casio Triangle.
This is all going off, TK.
It really is. Gabriel Quintino taking the lead in the Grand Prix there. Angelo up to P3. So the 2 Kicksauber teammates who we've seen come together time and time again over the course of this season are mere tenths apart. Surely, if you were a betting man, you'd bet on them to come together in this Grand Prix as well. We have 5.5 laps left of this Japanese Grand Prix. That is over 15 miles of track for them to have a collision. Surely, there is a good odds on that.
Championship leader versus championship challenger, and one of them, they're both teammates. I mean, talk about some spice going on here. But Richard Sprogis surely can't defend that hard on those hard tyres. 12 laps on those hard tyres, TK. As Angelo's got 5 laps on the mediums, it seems like a simple math to me.
It does indeed. 12 does not go into 5, and this time around the tyre difference could be educational for Richard Sprogis, who finds himself in P2 at present. Angelo, of course, will get the DRS assistance on the singular zone of this Japanese Grand Prix circuit, and it could all be said and done. It could be rather elementary as we head into the Casio Triangle. There's no move made here this time around, but Angelo has been patient in races gone past. Will he be patient this time around as well? That rear flap about to open for Angelo here, down into turn 1, and this sets up an almighty title battle.
And here we go, racing down into turn 1. Is he going to go for it? He goes down the inside. Oh, there was a small gap there, but it closed very quickly. And Richard Sprogis just getting in front of Gabriel Quinton. They were 3 wide going into turn 1. And oh my lord, if we're going to get that for the next 2 laps, everyone just take a seat. Seatbelt yourself into your seat, I think. Because I'm going to be lifting off in a couple of minutes and we're going to get stuff like that every lap.
Yeah, that will be fascinating to see, of course. Lap 23 and 27. 4.5 laps now of Grand Prix racing to come. These front 3 continuing to do battle. Zach Miles and Race in the background will be trying to get involved, as will, I think, Thomas Laminen and Danielle as well in P7. You can see they're all within mere tenths. Down the inside goes Angelo as they head into the hairpin corner. Gets the better traction on the medium tyres. It's now 1 and 2 for the Kicksauber cars. Richard will lead the Grand Prix. Angelo will be his teammate and in P2. This has gotten even closer.
This has got even closer. Angelo basically saying to Gabriel, this is not your fight. This is my fight. He wants this race win. If he takes the race lead here, TK, he takes the championship lead.
He will indeed. Through 130R, they will run. Richard Sprogis charging the battery. As you can see, that rear light flashing for himself. They head into the almighty triangle. Richard Sprogis holding as much of the middle of this track as he possibly can. He goes over the 2 corners through the final one. He'll run now to start lap 24 of 27. But Angelo will get the DRS assistance. It's now becoming a math game. Who will get it on that final lap? Angelo moves to the outside line. Gets the move rather easily. But will Gabriel Quintino be a spanner in the works? He swings one around the outside of turn number 1. But doesn't have the tyre life to hold on this time around. The 2 Kicksaubers are still reunited in this race.
still 1 and 2, but Angelo leads the Grand Prix now. And from disaster to happiness right now, leading the Grand Prix. Still 3 laps to go. Is definitely not over. I mean, Rihard Sproggers is not going to want to let this one go without a Grand Prix fight, and I'm sure we're going to get an absolute cracker towards the end here. Even 14-lap-old hard tyres for Rihard Sproggers. He's not going to give up that easily, is he?
Not at all. We'll wait and see what happens. Of course, 3 laps of Grand Prix racing. Once we cross that start-finish line, we'll enter lap 25 of 27. It's been thrilling in the opening 24 laps that we've seen so far in this Grand Prix. But I tell you what, if the last 3 are going to be anything like that, we are in for an absolute treat. Angelo, though, could be starting to pull away here as Danielle further back gets a 3-second time penalty. They're P5 at the moment. They'll considerably drop down the order once we cross the finish line. But Angelo has not made as much ground as he would have been hoping to. Rihard Sproggers only 3.5 tenths behind his teammate as we head into the Casio Triangle for the 24th time.
Here we go, lap 20 for the end of lap 24, going on to the start of lap 25. And here we go. Pretty much same battery levels, but one's got DRS and the other does not. But Rihard Sproggers will know. He knows he needs that DRS on the last lap to have any real opportunity at taking this Grand Prix lead. But for Angelo, is he just relying on pure pace, pure grip of those medium tyres now?
That could be the potential that we'll see. Of course, no safety car threat coming in imminently for any of our drivers. It's all on pure pace. I think we can safely say Rihard has it in the straights. Angelo has it through the corners as he starts to pick up more of a delta to his teammate behind. This is where Rihard needs to burn that battery to try and keep up with his teammate in front of him. He'll have the DRS assistance as we cross the start-finish line to start the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. This is going to be a battle for the ages here in Japan as we see the 2 teammates, our 2 title contenders here in PCF5. F3. I don't know. F3 battling it out on lap 25. There we go.
Lap 25. Numbers are hard. I'm with you on that one. But yeah, this is anyone's game right now. I mean, if I'm Gabriel Quinton, I'm watching this fight go down. I mean, you just got to sit and wait to see what happens because it could all kick off. Or is he just going to go for it into 130R? Has he seen a gap? And he might see one going into the Casio Triangle. Oh, is there some DRS chicken games to be played on the final couple of laps here? Because it could all kick off with a couple of laps to go. So I think Angelo wanted to let them pass, but they were not going to overtake him. We're on the penultimate lap of the Japanese Grand Prix, lap 26 and 27. Here comes Rihard Sproggers. Balls to the left-hand side. They're going to go wheel to wheel. It's 3 wide into turn 1. And somehow they've all come out facing the right direction. But Gabriel Quinton, will he take the lead in the Grand Prix? No, he won't, because Rihard Sproggers retakes the lead in the S section. It is 1, 2, 3 again, but they are all swapped around. Angelo's got it all to do with 1 lap to go.
Gabriel Quintino could have just put his foot in the middle of the fight here. He got caught up as an innocent bystander as Angelo will be standing on all of his merits trying to get back past with that DRS assistance that they'll have essentially for one final time as we head onto the final lap. But ahead of them is still 2/3 of this Japanese race course. Angelo will sit behind. He's contact with Gabriel Quintino in front. Fortunately, no wing damage though. Zach Miles, interestingly enough, has come to join the party here. And we can see Danielle, Thomas and Tias all joining the party as is race. The top 9 all together in this pack now.
I mean, I think Rihard is backing up the pack here, TK. If I've ever seen a man trying to not trying to get DRS on that last lap, he is really trying to back up the pack. But here we go. I'm going into 130R for the penultimate time here in this Grand Prix. It's been a thrilling Japanese Grand Prix as we go towards the Casio Triangle. Is it going to be too wide in the Casio Triangle again? They go wheel to wheel as Gabriel Quinton overcooked it. He's got across the curb there, and Angelo's going to get the exit out of the corner. And now the race down to the first corner. It's teammate versus teammate, championship leader versus championship challenger, and Angelo takes the lead of the Grand Prix, and Quinton can't take first place, but he takes second as we got battles in behind. Daniel and Zach Miles go wheel to wheel, but Zach Miles holds on to fourth. There will be more opportunities for Rihard Sproggers. 130R is calling. Can he get there with on the last lap of the Grand Prix his teammate and now potentially championship leader, leads the Grand Prix.
He does indeed. Angelo played it smart there. He charged the battery. He waited for that DRS opportunity to come his way. And Gabriel Quintino will now be a stifling block in Rihard's plans. He has a poor kick out as they go through that right-hand kick. They're almost 3 wide further back as well. That surely will not end well. They're going like Noah's Ark. They're going 2 by 2 into the hairpin corner. Look at the pack of them trying to chase down our front 3. But Angelo at the moment will take the lead of the race. He'll hold on to it at the moment. But the question will come down to how much ERS they will have in the battery, how much they are willing to lick that stamp and send it into the Casio triangle. We head down now out of the Spoon curve down towards 130R for one final time in this Grand Prix. Gabriel Quintino will have the chase advantage. Richard Sprogis further behind with all of the ERS, but they aren't close enough to make a move through this corner into the Casino triangle. Will they go for it? Richard dives down the outside of Gabriel Quintino here. He's made a mistake though. He's run wide. Off goes the track. Gabriel Quintino holds P2, but Angelo will come across the line to win the Japanese Grand Prix.
We got, right at the end, some tries to go across the line, but somehow they've all made it across, apart from Daniel, who I think crashed in 130R on that last lap.
I have no idea what happened there because they are already off our screen.
I saw Daniel I think he had an almighty collision in 130R.
As Giovanni's also retired as they come across the line.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but for Angelo, what a race victory that is. It puts him leading the championship. Gabriel Quinton in second, and Riyadh Suarez can only settle for third. But my lord, what a Grand Prix. What happened in those closing stages behind them? We were watching the race lead. But wow, once again, F3 delivers on its promise of being, well, a fantastic season of racing.
It certainly does. Harry Lay will come across the line to round out your finishes for this afternoon. We'll go across our full finishing order as well, just to confirm where everybody's finished in terms of this Japanese Grand Prix. As you can see, driver of the day does go to Angelo on track, and I'll tell you what, I think he has to be mine as well here, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, what a race he had. What a race. I mean, it's tricky, isn't it? I can't describe words what happened there. But yeah, Gabriel Quinton, I think, is a great choice. I know what, I want to give it to Angelo as well, because basically I know he started fourth, but he was last by the opening lap.
Yeah, he was indeed. It wasn't a great opening lap for himself, but he came back through the fields, scoring some all-important points. Harry Lay gets the fastest lap of the race to round out what has been an overall disappointing Grand Prix for the substitute driver here this afternoon. But here's your full rundown. Angelo does take P1, Gabriel Quintino P2, and Richard Sprogis will round out your podium here this afternoon. Zach Miles, Daniel, Thomas, T.S., Larry, Race, and Sixten Lintar will round out your top 10, and then Boba, Marcel, Tony, Haitala, Harry Lai, and Giovanni and Danielle round out your finishers. Keanu Luntart, Ryan Grobby, Yelte Korsman, and Thomas Bulger are your drivers that did not finish here this afternoon.
Wow. Apparently I've gone a little quiet. Have I?
Yeah, not quite sure
turn me
why.
up. Am I louder now?
Not overly.
What about now?
That will do.
Will do. Well, I mean, how do we describe that race?
I
Brilliant.
don't have many words to describe that race.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so we need to get the top 3 in for interviews if they want it. Well, Riyadh Sprogis is in the waiting room.
Wow.
We actually had Riyadh's in for an interview before.
I don't think so. He's normally not one to come in for an interview, which is rather fascinating.
Yeah. Well, he finished third, so we'll grab him first, shall we?
Yeah, let's do that.
So your for the Japanese Grand Prix is Mr. Rihard Sprogis, who obviously had a fantastic race, drove the natural medium to hard tire, and came up in third place. But Rihard, talk us through that race, man, because those couple of laps were absolutely insane.
I wasn't really happy about the P3, but I was like, it was pretty okay, but I can work with P3. But at the start, I was like really saving my tires. Like I just knew there is no point pushing because I wouldn't run away from DRS anyway. So I was just going mega safe. Try to pit a bit, try to undercut them. The strat is good. I just had no one to work with, which is not ideal because this route would be ideal if I had someone to work and actually swap positions with. But I was just leading the whole pack, the whole race basically. So I lost quite a big seconds there. But yeah, I mean, P3 is okay, but I'm totally not happy with it. And I could have won this. If not win this, then P2 was on the line like 100%. And not happy, but I guess we take it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that it can be it can be very frustrating. It's still a third, it's still a podium finish. Now looking at the championship battle, of course, you are now when going into this race, you are a leader of the championship because of course Ben Marples was moved up division, and you're battling alongside your teammates, of course, in the same constructor. Now, of course, I know teammates in PSGL are a bit different to what they are in say other tiers because it's all about fighting for that main championship. But you guys have had a couple of collisions here and now through this season. You've had some proper good wheel-to-wheel racing. Do you think who's going to come out on top on this title fight? Because I mean, you two look really, nailed in and have some real good pace.
Well, yeah, it's all about the not. It's not about the constructors, so it's all mainly on our driver standings. So, but I'm quite confident I will come back even stronger. Like I've been putting hours in, and I think I'm better than him. And I'm just not showing the results I should be putting, but I'm for sure that in the long game I will get him. That's for sure.
Well, we look forward to seeing the rest of those battles, mate, because they've been spectacular already. So thank you, Rihard, for coming in for an interview, mate, and I'm sure we'll speak to you next week.
Yeah, hopefully. Bye.
Thank you, mate.
Best of luck.
He
We have-
thinks he's better than him,
Oh,
TK.
fighting
We heard it here
words.
first. Fighting words. I want a. Can we get a WWE style package on the last race of the season if they go into the final race joint on points? We're gonna bring in Gabriel Quinton now, who finished second in the Grand Prix. So Mr. Gabriel Quinton, who finished second place in that Grand Prix, the middle of a Sauber sandwich, and he's come away with a great result here this afternoon. But what a Grand Prix, Gabriel! Of course, you were battling right until the end for that race win and even for second. Yeah, just talk us through that race because it looked great from where we were watching.
Oh, hello. I mean, yeah, it was a good race, I guess. I think quali wasn't ideal. I wasn't expecting a wet quali actually. I haven't done any practice for wet conditions lately, but trying to improve on that. But yeah, I think the race pace was really good. I would say. I think it was better than expected. I mean, I think I put it maybe a little bit too late, which actually, I think put me quite behind in terms of track position. But yeah, then I think it was like 2 or 3 cars that actually crashed in front of me. Then I could gain some places and I could fight for the win at the end. But yeah, I think you know, I think it was with the battle with Angelo and Rihos was quite good actually. I really enjoyed it. I think it was just that second to last lap, like at the chicane. I think I don't know what happened. I don't know. From my perspective, I think I got pushed off a bit to the grass and went into the runoff area and then yeah, on the last lap I just tried to defend for him. But yeah, I don't know what happened there. But I think for Zev, I would say that was a pretty solid show. I would say. I think it was better than I expected, as I said, and yeah. I think yeah, my best result over the season actually. So I think that was a good one. So yeah, it's driving on my favorite track and at my birthday as well. I think that was pretty
Oh,
nice.
that's very nice. Good result as well. I mean, yeah, it looked like on the last lap, obviously we saw a little bit of it. I think it was maybe a push wide, but of course, I'm sure if you want to put it, the stewards team will deal with it as well as they can. But yeah, Gabriel, congratulations on P2, mate. You've also got TK's prestigious Driver of the Day award.
Thank you.
As well. So that's a prestigious award. Not many drivers have that. It's much better than the title anyway. And yeah, looking at the title fight as well, I believe TK, I'm not wrong. There is points in there, isn't it, for close championship fights?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So Gabriel, have obviously the Saubers. You might have heard what Rihard's had to say. He's gonna go wheel to wheel with his teammate. I mean, I'd get involved in that. If you've got a chance of taking this win, you've got a real chance of taking this title.
Yeah, I mean, I think people were battling so hard actually at the end. I think Rios was actually really going for it on Angelo. But yeah, no, as I said, I think looking at the perspective of PSGL itself, looking outside of E Series, it's more of an individual championship. It's more like one for one. Even if you have other team, even if you have like a teammate on the I don't know if they are in the same team or in the same like car. I think they are in the same car, right?
Yeah, they're in there. They're,
I,
they're both kick Sauber. Yeah.
yeah. So like, I think that didn't make a difference anyway. I think maybe if Angelo was from Veloce, then I think that would be kind of a bit more of like, working together between the two. But no, as I said, like even though if you have like two strong drivers at one team, I think they are going for it anyway. I think especially for like the normal tiers like F1, F2, F3. Mostly talking, I think the constructors championship is quite irrelevant to be fair. So I think the only team championship that we have here in PSGL it's a series. So yeah, I mean, to be really honest, I already expected them going wheel to wheel at it, especially at the last lap. But yeah, I mean, as I said, I think it was again a good showing. I think it will, although maybe we have some questionable moves, especially on the second lap to last lap and the last lap. I think that was a pretty good showing from the three of us, to be fair, and I think that was a really good battle, and looking forward to make this one happen again.
Yeah, it certainly was. It was brilliant to watch. Well, thank you, Gabriel. Thank you for joining us. Congratulations on your PT, mate, and I'm sure we'll speak to you next week as well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. Appreciate it. And TK, that brings us to the end of another fantastic Grand Prix. I mean, that is, quoting a bit of Seamus here. That is banger after banger after banger after banger. We have not had a bad race this year.
Very, very true. And of course, still 6 races in the calendar for our drivers to contend with. There's lots still on offer in terms of points and closing. I think, as we mentioned earlier on in the broadcast, at Brazil, one of my overall favourite tracks on the entire F1 calendar. I don't think you've ever had a bad race at Brazil.
Never had a bad race. And I mean, we've always had firefights coming down to Brazil as well. I mean, and we could see a legendary one here. I mean, the Saubers clearly want to send it on each other at every opportunity. Quinton's involved in it as well. Linhart probably has to have a bit of recovery. Look back at what went wrong in that Grand Prix for him. I don't know if it was just incidents or whatever. But anyway, we're going to call it here for today. F2, F4 is going on right now, so please go and support them. Give your love over for the PSGL community. Come join our Discords, check out our Twitters, Instagrams, all of that good stuff. We will be back, me and TK, at 7 p.m. next Thursday for, what is it, TK?
That's a very good question. Next week, we head to the wonderful track of... Drumroll, please. Mexico. Nope, that's the wrong calendar I'm looking at. Jeddah.
Jeddah! Hey, that was smooth.
That was
So
really
we are
smooth.
going under the lights in Jeddah. So when we get there, we will get there next week, Thursday, 7 p.m. So until then, have a good evening, and we'll see you next week.
Cocaine in my nose, there got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my phone, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine